Hey, it's Frank Ski, radio personality, artist, producer, philanthropist, and overall lover of the world. When I think of elevating, I think of this marvelous world we live in with all of its nature and wonders and people and personalities and food and music and everything. It's super exciting. So when I think of elevate, I think of all of that. My gift is the gift of being able to relate to people, to be able to experience things and articulate them to people. I consider myself a great storyteller, but most of all, I believe in inspiration, and I believe in uplifting people through knowledge and experiences. So that's what I love. So whether it's DJing a party or doing my inspirational vitamin on the radio or exploring the world with my kids foundation, all of that is how I use my platform and my God-given gift to elevate. I believe that God places all of us here for a reason, and I believe he gives everyone not only a dream but a purpose, right? And I believe that once you start living in your purpose, the things that excite you and the things that you will be known for will actually come into fruition. I don't think we have to make our path. I think we have to accept our path in life. And I think for me, over the past 20 years, I've seen it over and over again in 360 degrees. And there's only a few degrees of separation. It's less than 6 for most of us. And I think that we're all really connected. And I think God has given me a gift to be able to not only tell my story, but from my experiences, being able to bring that across to people, both in music and in word and inspiration. The most interesting thing is, even when I do the inspirational vitamin and I'm giving people inspiration and uplifting words, it's actually healing for me as well. Because a lot of times I'm talking about myself. I remember when I was doing a whole series in the inspirational vitamin about following your path, and when God says move, like you got to move, right? And it actually made me resign from my own job. And I'm actually on the radio telling people, if this ain't what you're supposed to be doing, if this is not where you're supposed to be, you got to get up and move when God says move. And it caused me to get up and move. And that's exactly what I did. As you know, one of my first loves was music and hip hop. And when I was in Baltimore, especially, coming out of DC and into Baltimore, I started creating a certain sound of music and using all my musical knowledge that I have developed. And I love to DJ, and DJing parties is my thing. So if I'm DJing parties, I'm making music that relates to the people that I'm DJing parties for as well. But then when I get on the radio, my job is not only to entertain, but it's also to educate and inspire and uplift people as well. I take that responsibility, to heart. So whether or not it's me in the club or me on the radio, my job is to still elevate the experience that people are having. I think I feel most inspired when I see the kids through my Frank Ski Kids Foundation, and I see them go from one place in their lives and who they were, and in just a short period of time, like a 10-day trip to a very remote place in the world, kind of opens their mind, and they're like these huge sponges that are just bringing everything in, but they've also found out something about themselves that they never knew. And I get such inspiration from watching young people do that, because I think at one time that was me. I was that young person that was soaking up all of this, and it was just like so invigorating and exciting. And I think that's what inspires me now when I see other people doing well. It's so many different facets of the Frank Ski brand, radio being the main one. So the radio show is now syndicated, and we're adding markets all the time across the country, which allows me to inspire more people and entertain and educate more people around the country. We've got my Frank Ski Kids Foundation Planet Green Science Trip coming up in June, and we're qualifying the kids right now for who's going to be the final 10 to go to Australia, to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, and study the effects of climate change on the Great Barrier Reef, one of the wonders of the world, one of the only spaces that you can see from outer space, right? And how important that space is to the whole world as it relates to climate change. And then, of course, I've got a new album coming out called The Climate Change. And it's about all the places that we visited with these kids around the world. And it brings the music and the sound of that place through music to people who are listening to it. So I'm super excited about the Climate Change album, which is getting ready to be released. And coming up later on in the year, I have the 25 years of Frank Ski, like all the music I've ever done that, like artists like Cardi B and everybody else and Lil Wayne and all these folks have sampled and repurposed. But the original songs, I'm going to put them all back out again for the world to remember. And it's so great. At the same time, we're getting the Freaknik documentary. And of course, you got to have the Frank Ski music, right? And then I've got my inspirational vitamin book coming out, and it's really about the feature that I do on the radio. That's just a couple minutes every day, but it really truly inspires people to be better who they are as human beings, to be better to other people, and be better at what they do, and to make their lives better. So now I finally, after so many years, have put these inspirations into a book. So I'm super excited about all of that. Hey, it's Frank Ski, and you are tuned in to Elevate.